Welcome back to this special broadcast of UBC. My name is Daniel Mugoya, and today I am back again with Dr. Specioza Wandira Kazibwe. We shall be tackling issues pertaining the Busoga Kingdom. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
This is like my fourth time to have an engagement with you.
Yes.
But each time I find you tend to have not lost weight. I don't know what you use. I think that one will be a story for another day. But first, say hello to the viewers.
Yes, I can't lose weight because I was born with my weight. I told you, I was born weighing 6 kilograms. So if you weighed only 3, and you expect to be 70 kilograms average, then I'm much lighter than you, smaller than you, at my age. There's
a tendency of people saying, people like you who are trying to enjoy your retirement, you find that you're living a life which is a bit unhealthy and you risk losing weight, but your narrative is different.
No, most people, as you grow older, because you tend to slow down. So whatever you eat keeps piling on. So you must be on the move as much as possible. But what are the indicators that you are actually not healthy? At my age of 70 years, I'm not diabetic. I don't have joint pains. My blood pressure is okay. I sleep well. Mentally, I'm on top of things. So I thank God that He gave me this weight. He has enabled me to carry it well right into old age.
Okay, that is great. We shall move straight to what is ahead of us, and that is the coronation of the Kyabazinga, William Gabula Nadiope IV.
Yes.
But before we get into the celebrations of this year, just for starters, someone would love to understand what you can share about that historical moment since the inception of a princess from Bunyoro Kitara that led to the formation of Busoga.
Yes. The knowledge I have of kingdoms and specifically Busoga, of Kyabazinga of Busoga, is because I was Minister of Culture at the time we wrote the Constitution, and I was also in the Constituent Assembly. So I took trouble to also understand how these kingdoms came to be. Now, Bunyoro was the real thing before the white men came here. That's why it was called Bunyoro Kitara. So every kingdom, almost every chiefdom in the whole of Uganda is linked to Bunyoro Kitara. Now, what usually happens is that because the king would have many children, so the boys would line up who would be king. So once one was identified, the others would go into exile, because there are times there would be fighting to become king, so many of them would be exiled. And that is how Toro came to be. And then the chiefdoms of Busoga, they are actually 15, not the current 11 that are known, because every time they moved out, they each got a saza or a county, and that prince would preside over that one. So as we talk now, 11 of them opted to be part of the arrangement which the British people started. Otherwise, Busoga has never been a kingdom. And the first Kyabazinga of Busoga was called the president. He was a white man. And the white man handed over to Kakungulu, who was an agent of the Kabaka of Buganda. So Kakungulu ruled that part all the way. Semei Kakungulu.
Who ended up in Mbali.
Who ended up in Mbali. So the Bazungu came up and said, you know, these chiefdoms, let them come together. And they did come together. Others didn't. For example, the chief of the Samia, Obala, his stool is there in Bugembe. but he's not in the lineage of becoming a Kyabazinga or in the rotation, which was also determined at that time. So even at that time, because the princes and kings, as you knew them, they wouldn't want to be summoned, go to Bugembe all the time. They would get their prime ministers or their big soldiers to go there. So you find that the prince, the people, the chief of the Mbogo clan, Abaiseigaga, ati Nyenda, what is it called? Nenda, in Kiguru, na Chigo. Would have been the first.
The clan.
Abaiseigaga. They are princes also, but they opted not to go in for that. In actual fact, Kiguru would be the place where would be having the headquarters
of the kingdom
of Busoga. Yes, that is the history as was given to me when we were writing the constitution. So there should be rotation. Now, when the NRM came back and we looked at putting back the kingdoms, I was also the Minister of Culture when His Royal Highness Mutebi was put back on the throne, and I was very involved in those arrangements. So I was also very involved in the arrangements of restarting the Kyabazinga bwa Busoga.
So how many chiefdoms were there at that time when they were trying to recollect to have
11, those who accepted, because it's the white man who brought them together. And the meeting was in Buholi. It was not even in Bugembe or whatever. No. So that is how Busoga was. So they agreed after this one should be the one. So they opted that the Saza or the county which had the most recent entrant into Busoga, that is Zibondo of Kaliro, would be the first one. So that's why the first Kyabazinga of Busoga was Mulochi. Then politics came in, and that is how Zibondo's place, they were promoting DP, the people, and then Kamuli was UPC. Was UPC. So during Obote's time, if one cares to go into the details of it, that's how Nadiope became Kyabazinga after Zibondo.
Now, taking back to the days of the political crisis, and I remember, okay, if I read well, the first political crisis was when the kingdoms were abolished.
Yes.
What was the status of the Kyabazinga at that time?
At that time, Nadiope was the one who was the Kyabazinga of Busoga. Yes.
Okay.
He was the Kyabazinga.
What contribution did they have that perhaps maybe annoyed the head of state by then to abolish kingdoms?
No, actually it was Buganda mainly, because at the time of abolition of the kingdoms, the constitution then said that the president would be the Kabaka of Buganda. But not executive president. You know, Ugandans these days, they don't know the difference between executive and the head of state and the government. Our system now, we are in a presidential system. The president is head of state and government. So he's executive. Whereas if you go to Ethiopia, the president is not executive. So in some countries it's like that, especially those that had kingdoms, like now Ethiopia also had an emperor. So it was then that the problems came about, not because of Kyabazinga or the chiefs of Acholi. It was between Buganda and the central government, so because the Bazungu, the white man, promoted Buganda at the expense of other tribal arrangements in the country.
I would say the Busoga chiefdom was marginalized, even the others of the Torah and so on.
Certainly. Oh, but the white man had already beaten Bunyoro into a pulp and promoted Buganda. Otherwise, the agreements would have been between Bunyoro and the British, the Queen of England. But the Bunyoro refused to subjugate to the white man. That's why in history you hear people going to the islands in the Indian Ocean. That's what happened. So there is so much that we could actually educate our people to know. And some of them think, hey, this is like this, and it comes up a lot in real life to say also, why is Buganda better, you know, endowed, why was it endowed with better infrastructure than other parts of the country? More schools, more roads, more hospitals, more police, everything. It's because they accepted to work with the white man. Yes, so their institution was enabled to develop. In actual fact, I was a young girl, and our schools were contributing money to the building of Bulangi. The whole country was made to contribute to the building of Bulangi. But people don't know. I remember even when I was Minister of Culture, the Kasubi tombs had no grass. And the nearest place with the quality grass was in Busoga. So I mobilized Busoga to actually get that grass. We got lorries to bring the grass to renovate Kasubi. Because in people's minds, this is what has been happening, this is what we need to do. So the Busoga, as Busoga, we call it a republic.
Yes.
Because our traditional succession is through election. Yes.
But before that, I also find it disturbing that there was elections in, I think, 1962, the 1961, which Buganda boycotted.
Yes.
And I find it a bit disturbing if the other regions are not mentioned, and Buganda was so much favored to the extent that they even reorganized the elections to allow them have representatives through the Luchiko. And that means that they contributed in the politics of that time. And where was Busoga?
Well, Busoga was there under Kakunguru. You know, if you want to understand the dynamics, even the political and social dynamics of what's happening in the country now, one needs to understand that history of how regions or tribal areas actually linked up with the center. So it was Buganda. That's why Uganda is called Uganda, because of Buganda. Yes, it's Buganda. So, but for the sake of unity, all the other people said, let's get our independence, and we move on. So Uganda is still a work in progress. It's a lot of work in progress, because even when you go down to the different tribal areas, the dominant language is the one which took over. In Busoga, for instance, there are many tribes there. Since we are now in Busoga, you'll find a whole county, Bulamoji, another county, Busiki, another county, Buholi, which is now Bugiri district, and Namayingo. They are not predominantly, there is actually no language called Busoga. It's the region called Busoga. But because the majority of people in Busoga speak what we call Olutenga, which is in Kiguru County, and all the whole of Kamuli. But Kamuli also has the Banyala. Yes, they also overflow into Kayunga.
Where is Banyala?
Yes, so we have all these. And Buholi is really very special, because these are like the Luya of Kenya. And they have their chief called Obala. That's why I told you earlier that even his seat is there in Bugembe. Because when we discussed the putting back of the restarting of the Kyabazinga, I'm the one who chaired all the meetings. Yes, and the last meeting, I remember I took it to Nenda Hill, where the first meetings to discuss by the Bazungu what should happen took place. And then it was taken to a neutral place in Buholi, where the chief there was not interested in coming this way as well. So that's how all these things started, and we all agreed to do particular things, the rotation, but as you know, leadership and rulership is always in contention. If you don't take it, somebody else will take it.
Okay.
Yes.
It is an interesting conversation here.
Yes.
We are trying to get into that history because we really need to appreciate history in order also to appreciate the steps that we have been brought so far. You were in the CA, and most of the groups that were in the CA, some people were supporting federalism, and a big percentage was in the Buganda region. So what was the status of Busoga? What were they saying by then? What were they supporting, and what was left out?
You know, the CA was, it was such an experience to be a member of that body, and also to have been Minister of Culture, because all of it was history of the peoples. How will they respond to whatever arrangement? So Buganda certainly wanted the federal, because under the federal, the 1900 agreement, that's how the elite of Buganda were able to take control of Buganda. Now, Busoga, we had to go back, because the putting back of Busoga was not really, there was no single chief who was in charge of Busoga. Like I told you, the first Kyabazinga was called the president. And it was a Mzungu and Kakungulu. So it was a management or administrative arrangement to help coordinate the region with the center. So we never had a king. So we had to go back, again under my leadership, and to put in place a mechanism of consultation. So we started with the lowest local government, which is the local government 3. And we got all these people together, all the chairmen of LC3. We got all the religious leaders. That time it was majorly 3, which was the Protestant, Muslim, and the Catholic, in that order of numbers, because that's what the censuses have been saying. Now, we also got the professionals and got them to join a consultation in Busoga of how we can move forward under this new dispensation of a government which says the people should be in control. And we did. We went to a place called Naminage. I remember the late Bishop Bamoze was also very, very active as the bishop of Busoga Diocese. The bishop of Bishop Willigas was the bishop of Jinja Diocese. And the late, his name escapes my mind, he's from Busiki. He was actually the mufti of Uganda. So we really went there, university, and we came up with what we called the Busoga People's Charter. And it gave role to everybody. Now the Obwa Kyabazinga was also given a role in line with the Constitution. Because in the Constitution, many people said they didn't want federal. Buganda was the one which was asserting federal. I remember very well being married to a Muganda. I had many, many problems even at that time. You know, saying, you know, we cannot, Buganda wants federal, but The other regions don't want federal because it has a connotation of kingship and that kind of thing, and the history of the elite taking charge of everything, history associated with the land being taken away. And so Busoga opted for a Busoga People's Charter for Development. And we met in that Naminage in Kamuli district, and we actually signed the charter. And in line with the process of making it real, we brought it to Parliament. It was duly passed by Parliament. So Busoga, it was deemed in the Constitution to have come together, but it had no mechanism. Buganda was deemed, it had a king. Bunyoro was deemed, it had a king. Toro was deemed, it had a king. But Busoga was deemed, but we didn't have a king. That time there was nobody. So we had to put back our Kyabazinga, which we did. We came up with this charter and said there should be leadership, small secretariat of this charter, because there is the Local Government Act as well. And we gave it roles, and then the Kyabazinga was given a role, like in the Constitution, all things to do with the culture. Because the article talks about traditional and cultural leaders. So whereas ours at the making of the Constitution, we didn't have a traditional leader. We had in our tradition somebody who had been Kyabazinga. So we said we'll put that one back. And the president also, President Museveni, came and everything was passed. So what is remaining is implementation. The only region which came up to answer to forming a charter for development of a group of districts coming together was Busoga. No other region did that. What they are doing now, what I call retrogressive, but it can also be progressive, is that they are first starting with the cultural leader. Maybe that is also good, so that around that cultural leader they can discuss what needs to be done. But sometimes these cultural leaders are only in one district or one tribe. So a lot still needs to be done to get us moving forward, to implement the aspirations of the people as to how they actually relate with their traditional or cultural institutions. Again, people want to compare it with Buganda. Buganda both had the tradition of having a king as the ruler. But then the culture, the heads of clans in Buganda are the other stone that makes up power in the kingdom. Without the heads of these, you won't have the Kabaka being powerful. So you have the Kabaka, the heads of the clans. Yes, so it's really very important. So the executive, and that is the tradition to govern, and then the cultural leaders, very, very important.
So why was it a bit difficult to catch up, having even reinstated and you came up with the Kyabazinga?
You know, these are things, it's like when you are cooking matoke or sweet potatoes, if you put in fire and then you legeza, emere kona. So you need Nalongo to come, either yasirire or whatever. We didn't put in enough fire.
Because you have to keep monitoring the fire.
Yes, because I went away and left people in charge of moving forward. We even had a secretariat, and the late Kyabazinga Mlochi was with us, with the role of doing that and also of mobilizing Busoga. Because we need that very much. Our languages, we had many languages. So the institution was to spearhead that. Traditional things like music and traditional marriages, the Basamia do it slightly differently from the Balamoji Basiki. from the Batenga. This is the one you called Soga. So it was a very, very contentious debate at Naminage because the people from Bugiri, which was at that time Namayingo, and had the majority of the Samia, they said they wanted to go and join Busia so that they are no longer part of Busoga. We said, no, this is a historical thing. And they accepted. So all that work is still pending. It is still pending. Because at the time I left government to go to Harvard to study, my deputy or co-chair was Right Honorable Kadaga. But they've started other NGO institutions instead of putting more fire into the charter issue, so that whatever we agreed, it took a lot of effort and time and grassroots mobilization. So that is pending. And I can tell you, you know, Busoga is many people asking, where is our charter? Because when they say, we bring Busoga together, many of the younger people don't know already there is a constitutional and legal mechanism for knitting Busoga together. Not an NGO.
The Busoga People's Chapter.
The Busoga People's Charter for Development. In actual fact, that one became the basis also for an amendment in the Constitution and putting extra schedules, Schedule 5, in the amended Constitution, which spells out what this regional mechanism will do in terms of development. But now people don't know. They think it is now the Kyabazinga or the traditional leaders.
So it was entrenched in the Constitution?
Oh, yes.
With the regulations?
Oh, yes. Because once we put it in place, the ministry responsible had to come up
with the regulations. Maybe they failed.
Now it is a schedule in the Constitution. Why? Because if it's put in the Constitution, then a minister cannot manipulate the rules. If you have a law and then the minister is given the powers to put in place regulations, they may take them to Parliament and people don't think about them. But all these things are sitting there in the Constitution of Uganda as amended.
Don't you think I would be right to say that the leadership has failed this at 90%?
It has taken its time. Because leadership can't fail. When you are in leadership, you have different priorities. But that does not take away what is in the Constitution and what has been put in place because of the Constitution. You can, you know, maneuver here and there, but in the end, it is the Constitution which shows you the way. So the Constitution of Uganda is very, very clear about the Busoga People's Charter, why we formed it, took it to Parliament. The Right Honorable Sekandi was the Speaker, and the Right Honorable Kadaga was the Deputy.
So
yes.
If you are to resurrect this, what would be the starting point?
Well, the starting point is to go back to the chairperson who was the real one, and that's me. But like I told you, the leadership, when I came back, there were other priorities. And within the professional area that my boss wanted me to focus on, and that is where I am now. Because when you go to Busoga and you say, I'm going to start with the leadership, Busoga has been very fractured, like you've been seeing, very fractured. And but this ordinary person in the village, really, whoever is MP, where some of them, after elections, they don't even know who MP is or whatever. So I identified an area of importance and whom to work with. And then we got the Kyabazinga to accept to be on board, to champion it. And that's really the health status of people in Busoga has been my entry. But that does not take away the fact that the charter has to be in place so that there is accountability also for money, development money. When it comes to Busoga, where does it go? How is it used? Because the center has been putting money in Busoga for affirmative action. But you don't see, where does the money go? Who actually is speaking for Busoga in terms of development? Who is putting in place the plan which is in line with the policies and the National Development Plan? Nobody. Because that's not the role of the Kyabazinga. No, it isn't the role of Kyabazinga. Buganda is different because the two, even before independence, those institutions were intact. They had everything done for them in terms of the legal framework, ownership of land. So if you come from a family that benefited from all those, the Milo land, you have to toe the line and get things done accordingly.
Then where does this leave the input of decentralization drive?
Decentralization, I told you that when we did the charter, we started with the lowest local government. So every chairman, LC3, was a member. I was also the Minister for Women and Youth. Every chairperson of youth in the sub-county was a member. Of women at that time in the sub-county was a member. At that time, persons with disability were under local government, not the ministry, which was looking at a disadvantaged group. That came in later. So now you come up, every chairman of the district was a member. Every speaker, even the speaker of LC3, it was a huge forum. Now that we have more districts and sub-counties, would need to sit in Bugembe Stadium. Yes, and then the RDCs, because now we come to the technocrats. In the constitution, RDCs are technocrats, representatives of the government at the center. So they are members. The chief administrative officers were members. The mayor of Jinja, it was a municipality then, and the town clerks, it was really, and then we had committees. Which committee is to do which work? So we had priority areas. We had infrastructure. That committee was led by the late Busoga and Sadu. So all these bridges and whatever you see were actually under his committee. And then, because we were organized, in Parliament we had an Eastern Caucus, which I chaired, and we got TESO. Karamoja also joined us. So we also planned for those areas. So it is a wonderful arrangement where you can get people come together and you maximize on the expertise in the area, and you are able to really speak with one language. With one, you are all on the same table, and when Busoga comes up with the Kyabazinga said, my people, when he said, Your Excellency, my people have formed the Busoga People's Forum. It has to be recognized by Parliament and become part of the government structure as enacted in as the Constitution says. So the President said, I have this one. I sanctioned. When I went away, nothing. It is sitting there in the Ministry of Local Government, because that is the ministry responsible, regional and local governments. And legally, the government, unless there is a special resolution of Parliament, should not spend money on anything. But these days you see people, because this and that, when money comes from government, they take charge, they sit in their offices, divide it, this one should. That is unconstitutional. Yes. It is.
So before we get into the malaria drive, what could be the policy shift that is immediate and urgent to help solve community problems in Busoga?
I think the key issue, because for me I've always been very political, right from university when I joined the other Ugandans, but because before that I was really a girl in Busoga, then a girl in Namagunga, then I met other Ugandans. That's when I became really aware of the whole country. So in Busoga, the framework for mobilizing people to agree on their priorities is known. It is Busoga People's Charter for Development. It does not, because already the mechanism for putting in place all the leaders is there. We are not going to hold another election. No. We are not going to hold another election to say, let's now elect a bishop to represent the... No. These people are there. The Constitution is very clear about the role of local government. It is very clear about the role of these regional arrangements. And the Schedule 5 of the Constitution as amended is also very clear. It is clear about the role of the Kyabazinga. This one is the rallying factor. Elected by 11 people. But this is our tradition. At the making of the Constitution, this was our history. That was the tradition. So we accepted that. When they are electing their people, let them do that in their royal lineages. Let them follow the rotation, so that Kigulu can also have a Kyabazinga. Like people are saying, let's also have a president come from this region or that region, or the president sees now, let me have, last time I had a president from this region, let me go to another region. That is very good for the people. For the people, because now really self-determination, even at individual level, is ever so eminent. You don't need, you don't depend on a king. You need them for your values, to remind you of your culture and values, which are really the foundation of development, and for us to have our families organized and the raising of our children, values. You can have all the degrees and everything,
but without the values.
Without values, it's so that institution is very important. So now, what we have to do is to wake up Busoga People's Forum, and we are going to do it. I briefed the Kyabazinga. I went and visited him. I took the Constitution to him, showed him all these things, and I said, but everything has its timing. Everything has its timing. You may say, yes, this is the destiny, the Constitution says this, we need human rights, and for me, I also need water, but you are there in the village, you don't contribute to so many things, and you think that things will just fall from the sky. You start with what is possible. You look for avenues that are catalytic and will move things forward. So the Kyabazinga is aware about the charter issue, and unfortunately some of our gurus who were really with us, like the late Frank Nabwiso, who was a dictionary of the history of Busoga. Luckily enough, he did right. He passed on. But other elders are there. Yes.
How about the ministry?
The ministry
of culture.
Oh, the Ministry of Culture is mainly for the Kyabazinga.
No, are you engaging them?
You know, for the charter, we engage local government.
Okay.
And we have to work with the ministry. So for the cultural issues of Kyabazinga and all that, culture and whatever, it is the Ministry of Gender. But when it comes to the governance issues, because this is where you get local government coming together, it is under the Ministry of Local Government. That's the primary ministry which we have to work with.
Supposing you succeed, let's try to have a benefit of doubt, like 5 years from now, what would you think you will achieve by then?
What we dreamt of achieving then? Yes, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, I don't look very far. Sometimes we say don't compare. Like now you look at Rwanda with a population of 1.5 million. Busoga is a population of almost 5 million people. And because they speak the same language, they have leadership which is focused. We can do that also 4 times over. This is what I think. I want to tell you that a lot of the policies which are being implemented now were hatched under Busoga People's Charter for Development, because we had worked, professionals really worked, historians, geographers, and teachers, engineers, architects, surveyors, and educationists. They all had committees. So this thing you talk about of skilling, it was a baby of Busoga People's Charter for Development. We said we have many children, we don't have land. So the key is in skilling. Skilling. And we said at the time, each county must have a technical institute. And it is those which we identified and the land which we made available where government is now building. So Busoga, this business of Busoga University and whatever happened to it, you know, you do have, if you look at Busoga even now, and you said, let us have skilling. Somebody can go from P7, get their certificate, get their diploma in plumbing, go and get their degree in plumbing if they want. But what we want are the skills in terms of people getting jobs. So Busoga, the way it is, with the polygamy and the number of children per family in terms of the land inherited from their grandparents, agriculture is okay. You can say 4-acre model. But the 4-acre model, a family, one man on average, at that time, had 4 wives. And each Busoga woman would have 6 children. So those children are growing up, assuming 3. So each one would have how many acres in the model. So we said we'll do that, and we went ahead and also zoned and did whatever for agriculture, but our focus was on skilling, 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 skilling.
Okay. Getting into the malaria bit as we want.
So that is what we want to do even now.
Yeah. And
even skilling those interns who are just walking the streets that government must give them. You don't have to practice medicine just because you did 5 years. No.
The Kyabazinga, the Kyabazinga title means unity.
Okuzinga. You are the one who okuzinga is means you have equals, and you are the one who ties together the rope. So all of you are in this circle. Yes.
So how do you rate the unity in the Busoga region?
The people are united, by the way, and that you saw it when the Kyabazinga married. Yes. Okay. We don't have, I will tell you, Busoga is an area or a region where religion is not of consequence in politics, or even a tribe. No. We've not been having that at all. No, we haven't. For me, my great-grandparents came from Siguru Islands. So basically, I'm a Samia, I'm a Mugwe. Even the name which was given to my father has its origins from there. Wandira, Wandera. which means he was born with an umbilical cord around his neck. So they say he's a prince.
Okay.
Hey. So, you know, all of us, my mother is from Bulamoji. So I actually come from, my ancestry is from Obala. He would be my chief in Samia. But because of the arrangement, he's now part of Busoga. So now I'm a Muchiguru. Yes.
I bring this question because of recent, there are some people who are attaching the unity of Busoga to individuals. And some have gone to an extent of saying, without me, or if you're fighting me, the Busoga region might end up fragmented.
That is politics. And we saw what happened. Yes. I've been in Busoga now for the last 3 years. I told you that, consulting over this malaria issue. I live there more times than I'm here in the official residence of the VP. I'm there in my residence on my father's land. That's where I am. So I know what is going on. And because of what we need to do is for us who are elders to come together and we steer Busoga together without competing. When you are not competing for electoral office and you have a skill, you have knowledge, you have experience, we should be the ones to go and put back Busoga People's Forum. And we mentor these young people. The document is there. How shall we, luckily enough, that time we had Mchaka. And these young people you see coming up now, those young people, were the youths who were putting in trainings so that they can come and take on leadership. So for me, I'm not worried.
Okay.
I'm not worried at all. Because if you've been in leadership and you've learned something and you have a skill and you are able to reach a certain level in government, you should be able to go and rally people and they will listen to us. We have retired bishops, so many. We have retired technical people. Just look at the census, because for me that is one of my technical areas. I link up with the WUBOS a lot. I work with them to now tell me how many people say they are Busoga in the constitution and are above the age of 60. Then you will see all the expertise and you look for them. And that is what we are working with under Busoga Health Forum right now. It is a secretariat, it is an NGO of professional volunteers in business, in social sciences, in physical sciences, in biological sciences. And they are the ones who have started that organization. We work with Makerere, with whatever. So I'm not worried. Yeah, because I have seen how they come. They, like when we started mobilizing for them, I called the ones around Kampala and they came and filled my gazebo, over 300 of them. I didn't have money to give them for transport, but they came. But I gave them muhogo, obwita, envuluga, and they ate.
What is the progress report?
On what? On the malaria?
The malaria.
Oh, you will not believe it, because now people were saying it can't happen. So they said, do the pilot. So we've piloted in Inawaningi sub-county. And we have 5 pillars in that pilot. Community mobilization for participation is pillar number 1. So part of the meetings were here, were that. Then we went to Busoga and called all the technical people. We met the royal chiefs. We met including the Kyabazinga's representative, the Katukiro. We met the Muslim leaders, the bishops and everybody. Then we met head teachers in Iganga when we went towards implementation. But at the Busoga level, we've met the DHOs. We've met the biostatisticians. We've met the cows, everybody. So we came up with this Busoga malaria eradication program. We say eradication because that's a vision, not only for Busoga, but for the whole country. So the Kyabazinga has embraced this. And he said, this one will move us forward. Because when we got the data together and explained to them that countries that have gotten rid of malaria, their GDP can rise by 3.5% in just 1 year after eradicating malaria. Education improves, productivity improves. So in the meetings we went to the leaders, you sit in a meeting and you ask people, which one of you has not had malaria in your home? Nobody puts up their hand. And they say, once. No, at any one time in my home, there is somebody with malaria. First time, reinfection, reinfection, reinfection. So now the pilot, that mobilization, put together a team to test what we are talking about. So for us, we said that whereas government has been telling us to sleep under nets, the people said, ensiri yokusandagira ni kubalaza before you go to bed. Hey, it will bite you. And, you know, I remember a meeting here when I had over 250 reverends from Busoga in my gazebo here. And they were all saying, really, if we can even capture that little bit of money people are using to treat malaria, then the people in the church will not go away empty. Because people would now. So we mobilized. We zeroed in on that pilot area. And the biostatisticians are the ones who said this would be the best place to start. Because in Health Center 3, 85% of people who go there are malaria cases. Now these are the complications. But remember, some go treating themselves. They go to private clinics. So we did the mobilization and we came up with the stratifying what everybody should do, agreeing with them, the leaders. We put in place a sub-county planning team with the chairman of the sub-county, the speaker of the sub-county, the leader of head teachers in the sub-county, the technical people in the sub-county. And then we called meetings after what we had thought should happen. And the people said, you want to come to the villages, the chairman said. You want to work with me as a village chairperson and my team. But a village, my village has 7 zones, we call them Busoga. Another one, mine has only 3. So government has been planning for implementation around villages. They say it should be the zones because that's where you reach people. So in a sub-county with the 20 villages, it has 107 zones. How did we utilize the zones? This is where we said that each village will have a minimum of 10 village malaria brigade members. And these are the ones who would map. So we did the census. We census of that sub-county. And we found in our census, the population is over 33,000, whereas Wubos is 30,000. Wubos, the households were 7,000. We found they are less. And the people told us what happened there. So every chairman led a team of 3 people per zone, counting house to house. How many people are living in that house? Are there women who are pregnant in that house? Are there people who have had malaria-like symptoms? Because we taught them what are malaria-like symptoms. How many of those have actually been treated, and how many treated themselves? Now, on the issue of dealing with the vector, we also asked, how many of you have clean water? Because we would need water for spraying. Then the youth said for them they are going to do the spraying. So we mobilized over 350 youth
To
spray brigades under the leadership of the village youth councils. So they said, for us, we know those who are thieves, they won't enter people's houses. So they mobilized, and within 1 day, the mapping was done. We knew how many households there were, how many other structures, because we were spraying inside and outside the houses. We were spraying in the goat houses, the chicken houses, using an environmentally friendly insecticide, which is pyrethrum based. So the malaria brigades, which are the health brigades in every village, with the leadership of the youths, have taken charge of the program.
Okay. All right.
Now, we have finished. So then after we mapped in 1 day, we sprayed in 1 day, except where somebody had died in that village. The chairman said, please, tomorrow we'll do it. And we've moved house to house, testing every member of the household. And if we find you have malaria, we've treated you, something which has not happened in this country at all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. In regards to the Busoga area, we are going to stop at this, and maybe until next time. Thank you for always according your time to talk to you, BCTV.
Well, I'm also saying that the rest of Uganda should now know that this pilot has given us information, because the Kyabazinga of Busoga was chosen by the Ministry of Health to be the Uganda malaria champion. So he's going to use these results to champion this pilot, which has given us results which show that for this program, whereas if you use the methodology we've used in Busoga, you will spend less than $2 per person. Whereas if you actually use the methodology used by government, you end up spending over $10 per person. And this is what we believe will happen. We are working with the Ministry of Health, district governments, LC3 governments, Makerere University, which is helping us now to look at the data, and we do everything in a scientific manner. This is the theme for the 11th anniversary of the coronation of the Kyabazinga of Busoga.
Okay.
Malaria must go.
Thank you very much. My name is Daniel Mugoya, and see you next time.